I've been known that these individuals who I'm talking about have been off the, well, off the rails, so to speak. But I don't think a lot of other people know so much. But now they do. You know, I'm referring to Congresswoman Lauren Boebert and her comments that she made towards her co-worker, Ilhan Omar. And I don't want to necessarily focus so much on those two individuals, as this is a larger, more complex question and really task. The question is, what the Muslims in America should do in 2022 after such bigotry and Islamophobic comments have been uttered by an elected representative, the United States House of Representatives. Now, it's not like this hasn't happened before. It has. So, it's not, in essence, like this is new. Because we've always had racists in the House and in the Senate. What is sort of kind of new is, well, how things can be amplified and go out to far-reaching ends and spectrums of not just our nation, but our entire globe. What Congresswoman Lauren Boebert said to Ilhan Omar, it's going to have far-reaching implications. And I don't think people have realized what those implications will be as of yet. As I don't even know what that will be. But this is about what 3.45 million American citizens should do in this country. You know, that was the data released by the Census Bureau in 2017. They estimated 3.45 million Americans identify as being Muslims in America. Now, we don't too much hear all that much about Muslims in this country. For the most part, the only time you really hear about an individual who happens to be Muslim is when it's something to do with terrorism overseas. That's it. That's our only exposure. So, when you have a tiny group of people in comparison to the rest of the nation, representing 1.1% of the American population, and you generally only hear about that group in terms of terrorism, when you have somebody that's a racist and a bigot and a fascist, who knows that's how the general population thinks, using something so divisive and bigoted to stir up and rile up emotions, all while talking negatively about her own co-worker who she's worked with for a year. Like I said in my previous video, If you really believe that your coworker who you worked with for a year was going to blow you up in an elevator, you need a psychological evaluation. Something's not all there. And just saying, she's had a year to almost do it. And you're standing up at a rally with other white nationalists and Nazis, I would imagine. Because from the look of the audience, that looks like what was there. And they found that to be applause worthy. Insanity. Anyway, those people that were there, those are the people that are more dangerous than Lauren Boebert. You want to know why? Because they believe it. They believe that, well, Muslims are out to get them. And all Muslims are terrorists. And they'll go and do things that are irresponsible, dangerous, and terroristic based off of their ignorant assumptions. So Lauren Boebert apologizing to one congresswoman who happens to be Muslim is not going to really help the 3.45 million Muslims that will be impacted by her sheer ignorance, buffoonery, and downright racist beliefs. Now, like I said, this is about what the Muslims should do in America moving forward in 2022. Because sadly, you know, after that comment has been made, that there's probably a 95% chance that individuals who are perceived to be Muslims will be targeted now in our country. That already happened in 2001 after the September 11 terrorist attacks. We'll probably see that happen again now, thanks to this Congresswoman's remarks. You know, a functionality of democracy is all about advocacy. Now, the Muslim Americans, for the most part, don't have a broad and large-based advocacy movement advocating for, well, who and what they are. And if you don't have a broad-based advocacy of, well, who and what you are in America, you're at the mercy of people being able to define you. And generally speaking, people like Lauren Boebert, Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, they'll try to define you as, well, being absolutely evil, being absolutely non-human, being absolutely savage and barbarian, being absolutely alien. And the reason they have to do that is because, well, if they can dehumanize a group or individuals, then it gives them justification for their savagery and barbarianism towards you. Because, well, you weren't something human to begin with. The United States is riddled and tattered with incidents such as this. Lauren Boebert should know better, or should have known better. She's a congresswoman, and that used to be a privilege to be an elected member in this country. Now any old hooligan, charlatan, clown, neo-Nazi can be elected to office. If I still cared about politics, I would fucking run. I would just say kick out all the fuckers that are in there. And just, well, have me. But I'm not that narcissistic, and I don't give a fuck about politics. However, I do care about groups of people. And I know that in this country, the functionality is you need advocacy. And you get advocacy through political power. You see, what's really happening is Lauren Boebert and the conservative fascist movement is upset because Ilhan Omar is a congresswoman. That the Muslim American community is starting to get some representation. And they're trying to push back by, well, using the argument of otherizing the person or group. They're not like the rest of us. They're terrorists. They don't deserve to be here. This is not their country. This is a common conservative thread that they do to try to, well, not have anyone that's not like them around. They always feel threatened when, well, anything that's not like them is nearby. Apparently she can't even ride in an elevator with a Muslim person. Like I said earlier, are you not able to go into Target? Look, I've lived in Colorado. Let me pause right here. Pause, full stop. I've actually lived in Colorado. I know not the area she represents. I've been to many parts of Colorado. Denver is lovely. Fort Collins, nice area. Wouldn't live there. Colorado Springs, very conservative, but very beautiful. Aurora, Lakewood. We know Colorado. We know Colorado well. I remember being involved very heavily when they had the flooding. This was years and years ago. They had a bad flood. You were able to assist. What I'm trying to say is there's plenty of Muslims probably living in Colorado. You've probably gone to the gas station and maybe ran into one. You would probably be hearing a lot of stories on the news about terrorist attacks all throughout the country. If 3.45 million people who lived in the country were all terrorists, that would stand to reason, right? You need advocacy in the United States of America, or else savages like Lauren Boebert will define you in the worst of light, never in the best of light. No, Americans can never define people who are newly arriving to settled and colonized land as, well, perhaps beneficial. No, they've always got to be dirty, nasty, illegal. You know, some old bullshit. It's like a rite of passage. You need advocacy in America. Point blank. And 2022 is a perfect time to flex some advocacy. You know why? It's the midterm elections. I would be working like the devil from now until November. Any Muslim person turning 18 would be registered to vote in the next upcoming election in November of 2022. If you don't have the operation and organization, 12 months is a long time to establish something. And I know that there are organizations established that do advocacy, but you need a political armament to that advocacy. You just have to. Now, registering voters who turn 18, they're excited to vote for the first time. They don't know a lot about the process. So, having good communication about the importance of elections, who's more in line with the values and belief systems of your community, is also vitally important. I know that there's a lot of Muslim content creators on social media. You all need to be spreading awareness about the upcoming midterm election and the importance of not having the Republican Party go near the majority in the House nor the Senate. They can't go near the majority. Because people like Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan, these people would be in charge of central committees in the House. These are insurrectionists. You put them in charge of your House. You can only imagine if they're saying those things in public, what they'll do behind closed doors when they have the power to do it. No, it's a matter of life and death. It really is. It's about survival. They know that you're a small number. And well, the indigenous population, when they first arrived, was 60 million. They were able to genocide 55 of the 60 million. You're at 3.45 million. That's easy peasies for these savages and barbarians. So you gotta protect your number. You'll have our assistance, but you gotta do this. And I think the last point is, well, it's about allyship and solidarity. A lot of people don't understand the concept of mutual aid. Let me give you a 30-second elevator pitch. It basically goes like this. Don't expect any overarching, top-down leader from above to offer assistance to you. The people closest to you, who are in solidarity with you, are the individuals that are going to provide you the aid that you need when a situation arises. Meaning, if shit goes down and I'm in Trinidad, I can't get shit to you from Trinidad all the way to Queens in New York in a timely manner. The people in Queens, New York are going to be able to get you what you need quicker than what I can send you from Trinidad. That's mutual aid. You've got to rely on the people on the ground nearest you. There's plenty of Black Lives Matter organizations in every major city. Generally speaking, Muslim Americans are clustered in bigger cities. Some suburban areas, but bigger cities and townships across America. There's a Black Lives Matter chapter in your area. I guarantee it. Go and join it. Link up. They're fighting the same enemy you're supposed to be fighting. Lauren Boebert is a white supremacist and a fascist Nazi. You need to link up with people who are also fighting those individuals in your local communities. There's also democratic socialists in your local communities. Find your nearest democratic socialist in your communities. They're going to be helpful in terms of fighting this kind of evil. Now, once you've done the ally and solidarity part, the rest is just, well, the mobilization. That's the difficult part. That's the final part. That's the cherry on top, bringing it home. You've done the advocacy. You've done the registry. You've done, well, the political part of it. Then you've done, well, the ally and solidarity part. Now it's the mobilization part. This is where you need an all hands on deck approach. I've seen mobilization go really good, and I've seen mobilization go really bad. Generally speaking, when mobilization goes really bad, it's because, well, people stopped doing the advocacy and only started focusing on the mutual aid. My belief is you have to do them both in tandem. I know it's difficult. That's why you get good people that can do, well, one thing, and then you find other good people that can do the other. I don't believe in asking one person to do everything. It's too much work, and it's not beneficial to the overall goal. And then when I've seen mobilization go really good, it was also because, well, it was relatable to people's everyday life. You know, you can't say Lauren Boebert is the reason that there's Islamophobia in America. That's not true. So you can't go overboard. You've got to still focus on, well, what people want and what people need. They need the resources. They're going to need food. They're going to need, well, universal pre-K. They're going to need universal basic income. Those are the things that they need. They're going to need paid family leave. So those are the things that you really focus on. But you also bring home the threat of, well, these are the individuals that don't want you to have any of this. And plus, they don't want you to exist. That's messaging. That's advocacy. But then you're doing the mobilization. You're on TikTok. You're on IG. You're on Meta. You're on Twitch. You're telling your friends that you hang out with. You're retweeting shit. In essence, you're on code. You're using strategy and code to fight an enemy. I wish you the best of luck in 2022 to the Muslim American community. It is really a shame that when people come to this country, they're not allowed to just live in peace without some ignorance, Neanderthal, with their backwards ass ways, wanting to, spread their hatred. There are a large group of people in this country who do not like the progress, the slow progress, in my humble opinion, that this country has made. And they are hell-bent on wanting to turn that progress backwards. You need to advocate for yourself and make sure they don't turn this progress backwards. We all do. 2022, the midterms. It's time to show people like Lauren Badger that you won't go for this bullshit. You'll have plenty of support from us. Believe you me, I don't care if you're Daffy Duck at this point. If you're running against a fascist, I'm voting for Daffy Duck against the fascists. No questions asked. And at this point, the whole entire Republican Party has gone fascist right before our fucking eyes. You're afraid to get into an elevator because you fear your coworker will blow it up because she happens to be a Muslim. Maybe I've just lived in big cities all my life. I don't know. But I go to the subway and see Muslims all the time making my Subway sandwich. Do I think they're going to slip me cyanide poison? Get the fuck out of here. I'm always thinking, what the fuck kind of country is this shit show? That people would have thought that was even, oh my goodness gracious.